Hello, and welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we look at the mysterious disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley during a Royal Caribbean cruise. Amy Lynn Bradley was a 23-year-old from Virginia who boarded the Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas for a week-long Caribbean cruise. The trip began on March 1998 in Puerto Rico and included ports in Aruba and Curaçao. Joining Amy on the cruise was her mother, father, and younger brother. According to her father, James, they had spent the evening of March dancing and celebrating their vacation. At about 5:30 a.m., Amy decided to call it a night and retreated to the cabin with her brother. But when James awoke about half an hour later, Amy was nowhere to be found. Amy's disappearance was unusual because she was known to be a responsible young woman who would never intentionally miss breakfast with her family. Shaken by Amy's sudden disappearance, James quickly contacted the cruise staff and alerted them to the situation. They searched the cabin, finding nothing out of place other than a set of patio doors leading to the balcony were slightly ajar. This detail would become crucial in the investigation that followed. It was noted that there were no signs of forced entry, and items such as her shoes, identification, and cigarettes were left behind, suggesting that she had not intended to leave the room. Additionally, there were no indications that she had used the cabin's private bathroom or made any calls. The cruise ship continued its scheduled itinerary, arriving in Curaçao as planned. And this aspect of Amy's disappearance sparked controversy. Her family pleaded with the captain to delay docking in Curaçao so that search teams could comb through the ship and the port area thoroughly. However, these requests were denied, which raised questions about whether the crew prioritized the schedule over the welfare of the missing passenger. After being unable to locate Amy on the ship, the FBI joined the search efforts once they disembarked, but unfortunately, they were unable to find any evidence regarding her whereabouts. As days turned into weeks and months, hope began to dwindle that Amy would be found alive. Despite the lack of concrete leads, the mystery of Amy's disappearance persisted. Eyewitnesses came forward claiming to have spotted her in Curaçao. One such witness was a Canadian Navy officer who was stationed in the region. He stated that he and his colleagues had encountered a distressed woman matching Amy's description on a beach near the cruise port. According to the officer, the woman had approached him seeking assistance, but when he realized it was a tourist, he informed her that he did not speak English and tried to direct her to someone who could help her. Before he could do anything else, she disappeared from sight. He described her as being in her early 20s, approximately 5 feet, 7 inches tall with shoulder-length strawberry blonde hair. She was clad in a black tank top and a white skirt. Sadly, these accounts remained the only credible lead in the perplexing case. All further attempts to locate Amy proved fruitless, and the trail went cold. In the years since then, sporadic sightings of Amy have kept the hope of her being alive. One such sighting occurred a few years ago when a U.S. Navy sailor claimed that while he was staying at a hotel in San Diego, a woman approached him and whispered urgently, "My name is Amy Bradley. Please help me." Shockingly, she closely resembled Amy Lynn Bradley. The sailor instantly recognized her from the numerous news reports he had seen about the missing cruise ship passenger. Although the encounter left him shaken, he admits that his initial reaction was disbelief. He couldn't comprehend how someone who had supposedly vanished at sea could suddenly appear in a local hotel. Unfortunately, despite this promising lead, the case stalled once again. Amy's family never gave up hope of finding her, however. In 2017, her brother, Brian, expressed unwavering optimism in an interview with Inside Edition. He firmly believed that Amy was alive and held on to the belief that she would be found. His conviction stemmed from the fact that if she had truly fallen overboard, her body would have been discovered given the extensive search operations conducted by the FBI and the cruise line. Adding to the intrigue surrounding the case is a series of peculiar photographs that surfaced online. These images featured a woman who bore a striking resemblance to Amy and appeared in an ad on a website. People who saw the pictures were astounded not only by the woman's likeness to Amy, but also by the implication that she might be trapped in a web of online exploitation. The troubling notion that Amy might have been abducted and sold into human trafficking gained traction. This grim possibility was supported by the FBI's stance on the case, which suggested that foul play might be involved in her disappearance. Another piece of the puzzle emerged in 2014 when Norwegian investigators probing a separate case came across a lead that brought Amy's name into the picture. They discovered a notebook containing a list of names and dates, and upon comparing the information, they found similarities to Amy's case. While the exact nature of the connection remains unclear, this development added another layer of complexity to the already convoluted mystery. Despite these sporadic leads and the continued insistence by her family and the FBI that she was alive, there have been no confirmed sightings of Amy since her disappearance in 1998. All these years later, her absence continues to be a haunting reality for her family and friends. A crucial question that arises in the context of Amy's disappearance is whether the cruise line and the crew of the Rhapsody of the Seas acted appropriately in the hours following her vanishing act. Did they prioritize the safety and well-being of their passengers? Or did they err in continuing with the scheduled itinerary and potentially jeopardizing the chances of finding Amy? Some people believe that Amy jumped or fell off the ship. However, this theory appears less likely as there were no signs of a struggle and her belongings were left untouched. Moreover, if she had indeed fallen into the sea, her body should have been recovered considering the subsequent search operations. Another theory proposes that Amy was abducted by someone she met on the cruise. This individual enticed her to leave the ship under the false pretense of showing her something intriguing. It is plausible that the abductor was aware of the ship's movements and chose a time when Amy was most vulnerable, like when her parents were asleep. Yet another possibility is that Amy willingly left the ship and is living somewhere under a false identity. Perhaps she had developed feelings for someone on board and chose to embark on a new life away from her previous one. A more sinister theory revolves around the notion that Amy was taken against her will and is trapped in a web of human trafficking. Considering that the ship docked in several ports, there is a possibility that she was sold to traffickers after being taken off the ship. Unfortunately, without concrete evidence, these theories remain speculative, and the true account of what transpired remains shrouded in mystery. It is essential to consider the role that human error and negligence might have played in Amy's disappearance. As previously mentioned, her family requested that the ship's captain delay docking in Curaçao, hoping to give search efforts a better chance of yielding results. However, this request was denied, causing some to question the cruise line's priorities. Furthermore, there are individuals who believe that the sketchy circumstances surrounding Amy's disappearance indicate that there was more to the story than initially met the eye. For instance, there were questions about why the police in Curaçao were not notified immediately, and why there was a significant delay in issuing a public statement about Amy's disappearance. Some theorized that the cruise line attempted to cover up these issues to protect its reputation and avoid potential liabilities. Looking back at the case, some wonder if the search efforts were hindered by a lack of cooperation between the cruise line, the FBI, and the local authorities in the various ports of call. Effective communication and collaboration among these entities could have possibly led to earlier success in locating Amy. Moreover, it raises concerns about the preparedness of cruise ships to handle situations involving missing passengers and the protocols in place to ensure the safety and security of those on board. Were there adequate measures to prevent unauthorized access to the ship after Amy's disappearance? Could the crew have done more to assist the family in the immediate aftermath of the incident? These questions highlight the need for comprehensive safety plans and effective communication procedures in such situations. If Amy's disappearance was due to foul play, it underscores the importance of raising awareness about human trafficking and exploitation, particularly in the context of cruise ship travel. Educating passengers about potential risks and providing them with resources and information could help prevent such incidents from occurring and ensure their safety while on board. The impact of Amy's disappearance on her family and loved ones cannot be understated. The prolonged uncertainty and lack of closure have undoubtedly taken a significant toll on their emotional and mental well-being. As they continue to seek answers and closure, It is essential to acknowledge their strength and resilience in the face of such an enduring tragedy. While the mystery of Amy's disappearance remains unsolved, it serves as a reminder for the importance of comprehensive safety measures and effective communication protocols, not only in the cruise industry, but also in all aspects of our lives. As we reflect on this case, let us also offer our support and empathy to the families and friends of missing persons who continue to search for answers, hoping that their loved ones will be found. And if you know anything about the case of Amy Lynn Bradley, please contact the FBI. Thank you. Now check out the related content on screen for more stories of missing persons.